we strike. UNITEDWE. Strike. UNITEDWE. Strike. I'm alright with United we strike. Stand in line with United we strike. Join the fight with United we strike. We need the millions of working class heroes who've had enough of being less than zero. All together right with United we strike. Don't buy, don't buy, don't comply. Not what they want. Ask why. Ask some questions. Do what's right. Do not like this. Don't buy, don't comply. Ask why. Join the fight. I'm alright with United we strike. Stand in line with United we strike. Join the fight. United we strike. Strike! It is time to get united. It is time to stop this senseless fight about nothing. It is time for direct sacrifice and participation. It is time to rise to the occasion. The time is now. Power to the people. United we strike. 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 United we UNITEDWE. Strike. UNITEDWE. Strike. UNITEDWE. Strike.
All right, hi everybody, welcome. Today is November 6th. It's Sunday, and I'm Karen from taxfree15.com and UnitedWeStrike.com, and this is our Musicians for Freedom segment. Every Sunday we have regular broadcasting where we interview musicians, we have music, we talk about what's going on in our world, and we help to educate each other so that as we learn we can pull ourselves more and more out of the system that is purposely there to enslave us from cradle till death. Now, we are being produced today from Detlev in Switzerland. Good morning over here, Detlev, and good evening over there in Switzerland.
Yes, you're right. Thanks a lot. It's 7 p.m. over here.
All right, with the time changes and everything. And then we've got, right now, it's 10:06 over here in Oregon, and Sharlene Holt from Colorado. What time is it in your part of the world?
11:07.
All right, and you have a special guest for us today, actually. And if you want to introduce him, then we'll get him talking and take over for you for a bit.
Great. Well, it's nice to hear from you guys today. Hi, Detlev.
Hi. I'm here. I'm in the background. You know, I'm the producer.
Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain. Go ahead.
Sometimes the mute button, once you put it in, it's hard to get it out.
And also, Smokey. Hey, Smokey, are you here today with us?
I'm here today with us.
So Smokey's in Nashville. Smokey is with a duo called Voodoo Stingray. And hopefully later in the show today we're going to hear from King David, KingDavidGloryMusic.com. And he's just one of those lesser-known folks. I think he's out of Alabama. And he's got some praise music for us today. Burt, we'll hear from our buddy Burt, hopefully, if Detlev can give a call to Burt and talk with Burt about his adventures in Sovereignty Land. And first hour, we're going to talk with a friend of mine here in Colorado, and his name is Keough. I met Ridge at the marvelously wonderful Comfort Cafe, which is a very unique restaurant here in the Denver area. And it's right off of Tennyson, on Tennyson over there, around 40th, 44th, something like that. So, and what they do at the Comfort Cafe is it's a kind of a donation run thing. So you can eat awesome food. I mean, great vegetarian prepared foods, and experience an awesome ambiance. You know, the place has beautiful artwork and sculpture and living plants and volunteers. And you can contribute whatever you want in terms of Federal Reserve notes or volunteer work. And so it's a really unique experience over there at the Comfort Cafe. And when I was there with my daughter a couple weeks ago, I had the opportunity to meet Ridge. And so his name is Ridge Keough. Ridge, are you there?
I am here. Hi. Thanks, Sharlene.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us. So anyway, so Ridge turned me on to a track, and it's like 70 minutes or something like that, and I've been listening to it when I go to bed at night. And it has healing frequencies. Ridge has studied quite a bit the whole idea of the 432 hertz and some of the other healing frequencies. And also he investigates the flower of life, which some folks may know from having studied Drunvalo Melchizedek's work with the the Platonic solids and the sacred geometry. So Ridge, why don't you explain to us how you first woke up to all of what's going on in terms of our consciousness being raised on the planet and all of that.
All right, thanks, Sharlene. It is an honor to be with you today, and this all came about approximately 3-4 years ago when I got my hands on a set of solfeggio tuning forks, which are tuning forks with specific frequencies that are designed to stimulate our mind and spirit so they both start to vibrate at the same frequencies. And after doing that for a while, I started getting, either deja vu or people who come into my life that would show me new, interesting attributes. So one of them was the Drunvalo Melchizedek books with the sacred geometry. And even though the sacred geometry has to do with forms, the forms are based in geometry, which is mathematics, and mathematics is what we base music upon. And so it's all been kind of a sidestep way of learning how to do the frequency work that I'm doing now. And essentially what I'm trying to create is very specific healing frequencies and activating frequencies. So when you're either meditating or going to sleep, you can put this on and it will balance the left and right hemispheres of the brain and balance your chakras and introduce scalar waves into the programming. So when you are asleep, your brain, which is still functioning, can start to use those scalar waves and enhance your dream phenomenon so you can work through processes further.
So this is music to sleep by?
This is music to sleep by, this is music to meditate by, or just trying to work through certain areas of your life that you may be having trouble with. And some of the frequencies are very specific where, there's that 43 hertz note, but I'm also using frequencies such as 33.3 and 72 and 144. And for those that are in the spiritual communities, 33.3 is a sacred number for the connection with spirit. And 72 is the connection to the earth. And then 144 is our monad. So there's these numbers that are just kicking around out there in the world, and, they do have resonance with other things that are going on a quantum level, and we just haven't been able to put together pieces yet. And what this CD is that I'm making, it is using binaural beats, which are a master beat of, let's say, 72 hertz. And then on the left channel, you'll have 1.05 hertz maybe, and on the right channel, you'll have 2.50 hertz. And so the left and right will start pulsing back and forth, and they'll create a nice deep harmonic for you to work with, while the upper frequency is doing a whole separate form of work. And it's not so much music as it is a way to spiritually grow, relax, get rid of a lot of stuff that you're hanging on to during the day and whatnot.
Now, where did you go to learn all these things?
That is very interesting. This has all been a beautiful lesson in releasing the concept where I have to go and learn something and go to a school. It's rather been stumbling upon all these different precepts that are already out in the universe for us to take. I have been meditating since I've been 15, and I'm 40 now, so I've been doing a lot of quieting my brain and trying to open up to stuff that's all around us. And, when, for a lot of us, if we look at the clock, it will have repetitive numbers to it, like 2:22, 3:33, so things like that. And these are just little hints and reminders that everything out in the universe is there for us already. And we just need to be open enough to receive it.
So were you originally a musician? Did you start playing the guitar and then you
Not
were
at
drawn?
all. That's why this is all sideways to me. I have no musical experience outside of playing drums and clarinet and things like that in grade school. The most background I have is actually in the installation of audio equipment. So I've always been very keyed to the way something should sound, but I haven't been somebody who's picked up an instrument and said, oh yeah, let me play this. So I've been more like a producer, more like an installer to these sorts of things. And that's why, I feel that what I've been doing, I'm not quite sure about because, I'm like, well, I don't have any musical background to this. Who says I'm right? But in the flip side, I'm like, you know what? Where did these people learn this stuff? Some people just pick up an instrument and can play. So we each have our own gifts.
We do. That's interesting. My husband has always had that, kind of the gift of music. He can sit down at an instrument and just play. Not real detailed, but he plays. It's melodic. It's not like me. If I sit down, I'm pinging and panging and banging, but I can sing, but I can't play.
Yeah.
So what
So when
kinds
I'm
of...
working with the program on my computer to generate these frequencies, I'll sit down and I'll get quiet and I'll do a quick meditation and I'll ask my higher self. I'm like, okay, I'm looking for a frequency for pineal gland stimulation. And I'll have a pen and paper nearby and I'll write down the numbers that will just pop in my head. And then I'll try them out and I'll know if they're right because, for a pineal stimulation, it'll feel like all of a sudden somebody pulled a needle out of your head or something and you're like, oh my God, this is amazing. So that is really how I come about with the frequencies that I'm using.
And then it's just computer sounds that It
is, everything that I'm working with is all computer generated. So I have solfeggio notes. I have 9 different solfeggio notes in there. And
the sacred
each
notes?
one of those, yes, the sacred notes. So like 396 hertz and 417, those are generated. Yep. Those are all generated as a square frequency, so there's no amplitude to it. There's no up and down movement to it. And I generate that as a flat tone. I'll then bring it into another program and generate amplitude modulation, so I'll give it some depth and meaning to it. I'll change the time and the volume and the pitch a little bit if I need to. And what I'm trying to do is make it so the brain can react more with it, and it kind of massages the ears and be like, oh, this is a good sound. I like this.
How long have you been doing this?
I've been working with SoundForge and other computer programs for about 10 years.
Okay.
And the final program, which I use to produce it, allows me to lay down multiple tracks at once and put in fades and volumes and things like that. So at certain parts of what I'm working with, there's upwards of 10 tracks that are all overlaid on top of each other. And, you know, our brains are more than capable of processing this information as long as it's nice and harmonious to us.
And then you make it into an MP3 format?
Right. I'll do an MP3, but if, you know, I'm giving it to people, I'll start with the WAV format because we do have some loss when we put it into a compressed file like that. And it's still effective.
Well, this is Detlev here from behind the curtain, the producer. We are breaking up a little bit. Can you check again your connection? Can you talk? Just check it.
Yeah. How is the connection for you here?
Well, it's pretty bad. So I would rather recommend we make a quick break and start with your music, Rich, and then we try to reconnect. Is that fine with you?
That is fine with me. Yes.
Okay, so stay tuned. So we start with Rich's tracks right away, and we'll be back in a few minutes.
All right, folks, we are listening to Crystal Caverns, and that is the name of Rich Keough's music. Rich, do you want to tell us a little more about this?
Sure. So with the CD that is being played right now, it's a full 71 minutes in length. And what I'm attempting to do is to start with nature sounds to put somebody in a nice, restful place. Throw a couple of 174 hertz gong sounds into it in the beginning, and then start rolling in thunder and rain and take nature out of it. And at the same time, we have two separate subtracks that are playing of 70 hertz and 62 hertz. And what these are doing is steadying the mind, and the ears are picking up on these two frequencies, which are right around what our brain utilizes for REM sleep. So it gets us into a very deep meditative state immediately. And further into it, what will happen is the solfeggio notes will play, and on the newest one, I also have crystal bowls, which will help align chakras and get rid of any unwanted energy. And so throughout the CD, every 15 minutes or so, I'll rotate out one of the subharmonic frequencies and bring in a different one, so your brain has time to absorb and work with the new frequency and doesn't get overwhelmed. I've found that we need to, if we're working with CDs where it's a very intensive sound that is the same over and over again, we need to change this out every once in a while. And for this particular CD, I believe I have over 30 different sound files incorporated into it. And they're such that none of them will jump on top of the other and make it disturbing for you.
So what you're doing actually is making an experience. It's not just music or a song to listen to, but this is something to really experience on every possible level.
Right, and there are specific frequencies in here for higher intuition or a shamanic experience or just general healing. There are frequencies in here which will put you into the theta state for sleep and also for REM state, so you'll get some good dreams. And there's something else in here which you can't audibly hear because it's a scalar wave. And so throughout the CD there are scalar waves going on, and the scalar wave is the same frequency, and one of the frequencies on the left channel is out of phase with the right frequency. So what's happening is they're canceling each other out. However, since we have generated something, hey, I just generated a musical note, and I canceled it out, what happened to that note? It's still there, but we just can't hear it. So there's that raw potential energy that is being incorporated into it that is helping with the dream state and with any kind of thoughts that you're having.
Now, how did you start to get your music out there? Once it came to you, how do you share it?
I bring it to, I always have a couple of CDs with me, and whenever I interact with somebody, you know, my higher self will be like, hey, you know what, this person may need this, so then I'll give the CD away, and I'm like, you know what, let me know how it works for you. Because for me, the most important thing about being on this planet is helping one another in a loving, compassionate way. And it's not about the money or anything else, but it's about getting people involved and waking them up and letting them know that, you know, we are all one. We are all on this planet together.
Agreed.
And we need to make a change.
That's why we're here at United We Strike, because we are all one. We've just forgotten. And we're all fractioned off. Aha, Sharlene's back. She's listening in the background.
Yeah.
But, okay, now if people want to get this or if they want to contact you, you have an email.
I have an email. I do not have a website, only because this has caught me off guard. And if someone wants to email me, I'll be happy to send them out a CD or two of whatever I have latest going on. And, it's all love donation. They can send me money if they want. If not, that's not a big deal, because the universe will fill in the blanks.
Okay, so your email is gfhealing@gmail.com. So G is in George, F is in Frank, the word healing @gmail.com.
Correct.
Sharlene, did you want to say something?
Well, hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, great. Well, thanks a lot, Rich. I really appreciate you coming on the show today.
Thank you, Sharlene. Thank you, everybody. It's been an honor.
Hey, why don't you tell us a little bit about Comfort Cafe? Like, how long have you worked there, and what's been your experience, and what else did you want to tell us about?
The Comfort Cafe really resonates with the United We Stand approach, and
United
also with...
Strike.
United We Strike.
It's okay. It's easy to do.
Empire Strikes.
So it really resonates with this because it is about community, it is about love, and everything that we do there, we put community and love before anything else. The food and art and humanitarianism of the place is what drives it, and it's not about the money. It's not about the corporation or any of that. It's about creating unity. And it really resonates with what I try to do. And so the people there are just wonderful, loving, compassionate people. And, we draw exactly who we need to draw in for that moment. And everything is exactly how it should be. And
don't they do donations? I think they're donation-based, right?
We are donation-based. And, I spend about half my time volunteering and a small, probably about 10 hours a week as paid staff, just so they can give me a set of keys and call me responsible. But it is donation-based, which just means that, if you want to give $10 for the meal that you're served, that's awesome. If you want to do $40, that is terrific too. And if, let's say, you don't have money, you know what? We can put you to work cleaning some dishes or sweeping or volunteering as well. It doesn't matter. The most important thing is to make sure that the people come in have a good meal to eat.
And so they can exchange their time for a muffin.
Yes.
Nice.
And they can also exchange their time just talking with other people and sharing their circumstances with others.
Mm-hmm.
Sharlene, just to let you know, there's a little noise coming from your side. Maybe it's the hospital?
Well, maybe. It's not really very noisy right now. It's pretty quiet, I think.
Yeah, it quieted down again. But, it's a great place to come for food, and the food is typically organic, and we get a lot of donations from our neighbors who grow their food and crops. And, sometimes they'll drop off paper towels or dishes or whatever it may be. So.
Great. And don't you have music there, too? You have some live music going on there at the Comfort Cafe, don't you?
You know what? Today we have live music. We have the folks from Picking on Tennyson, which is another place down the street which does a lot of guitars and any kind of stringed instruments. So they're going to be playing there in a couple hours.
Why don't you shout out the address so if interested people like to go there? Why don't you say where it's located and how to contact?
It is in the Highlands area of Denver, Colorado, and I believe it's 3942 Tennyson Street, and that is in between 44th and 38th. In Denver.
Actually, I would love to go there, but it's a little far.
It's a little far for you.
It's a little far. Send my regards to everybody there from Switzerland.
We'll send you some muffins.
Yeah, well, till they get here, well, they maybe smashed pumpkins. Never mind.
All right, well, great. Rich, it's been
Thank you, Sharlene.
Really great to talk to you. So maybe we'll let you go. I want to see if we might be able to get Burt in here. We'll try to give Burt a call and see how that goes.
Sure. And meanwhile, we'll play a little of Rich's tracks and make a quick break for a couple of minutes.
Great. Thank you, Rich.
Okay.
We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you
Thanks
all.
very much, Rich.
Musicians for Freedom on ICRNetwork.com every Sunday at 3 p.m. MDT and 10 p.m. UK time for guests and political music live from the Colorado studio.
All right, we're back with Musicians for Freedom with Sharlene Holt, who is in Colorado. We've got Detlev in Switzerland. We have just been listening to Ridge Keough's music, which is an experience. I can see how meditating to that would be a real good thing to do. Now, we are adding another friend of ours. We like to keep up with Burt and his adventures through the legal wonderland of the system. And he and Sharlene have been working at extricating themselves from this. So, Sharlene, I'll turn it over to you, and you can briefly introduce Burt, and then we can catch up and find out what's been going on.
Wonderful. Great. Well, thanks a lot again for that lovely intro, Karen. And also, I just want to remind everyone that coming up in this next hour, we're going to be talking with King David, and he has a website, King David Glory Music, I believe it is, and he's in Alabama. So we're going to hear some of his Praise the Lord music, find out where he's coming from in terms of his activism. And I don't know him very well, but I guess we're going to find out all about Alabama, what's going on.
Well, that's right. I'm in my neck of the woods.
Oh, and so Smokey's with us right now, and he's down in Nashville. And now we're going to hear from our buddy Burt, who's here in Colorado with me, and hopefully is going to come by my hospital room very shortly and bring me flowers and ice cream. Burt, are you good?
Okay, well, I got to go pick some dandelions, but they're all under the snow right now.
You have snow?
Yeah, well, it's mostly melted now, but yeah, we actually got some snow here this last week.
Wow.
Winter wonderland.
Yeah, it was pretty nice. Now it's real sunny. It's always like that in Colorado. It's always sunny. Even if it's snowing.
Except when it snows.
So,
Well,
Burt,
speaking of snow,
go ahead, Smokey.
we had, there was a really nice sky full of chemtrails on Wednesday, a bright sunny Wednesday afternoon, and they had predicted rain for Thursday and Friday, and lo and behold, right after this huge pattern of chemtrails filled the sky Thursday and Friday, we had rain and not so nice weather.
Oh, wow. You think there's a connection there between the chemtrails and the not so nice weather?
Well, definitely. There's a company, I can't remember who they are, but they're specialized in weather modification, and they spray metallic oxides in the air, and supposedly that provides a return path for the HAARP, the High Altitude Auroral Research Project in Alaska, and they apparently can modify the weather patterns with chemtrails in the HAARP. Which isn't surprising, because that was experimentation that Tesla was doing way back in the 1900s that they've now kept hidden from us for the last 100 years.
And so now they're bringing it out for some special purpose, I guess, at this time of the season, or time of the universe, or time of the planet, or the time of
well,
man.
On top of which, yesterday, Saturday, Friday night or Saturday, there was a magnitude 5.5 earthquake in Oklahoma, which was the strongest earthquake that had ever been recorded there, and they're in a relatively seismic-free zone. In that part of the country. They're nowhere near the Rockies.
But Smokey,
or
that's also due to the fracking, isn't it? That's what I heard. They're fracking down there. I mean, deep down.
Right. Correct. In the 60s, they were injecting the chemicals from all the chemical weapons from World War II. They were injecting those into the ground in the Rocky Mountain Arsenal east of Denver, and we experienced a series of earthquake in the 5 to 6 magnitude range in the early to mid-60s due to them injecting chemicals into the ground.
Yeah, it's a crime against humanity, against nature, against the world, against the universe, against everything, against God, if you want to.
It's the reptilian influence the satanic influence of the reptilians that control the corporation known as the United States of America, D.C.
The DC franchise, right? The DC branch of the
Correct. I mean, the main military building is the Pentagon, and Washington D.C. is laid out in a pentagram.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it couldn't get too much more pagan, huh? And the Statue of Liberty is, she's a goddess, right? Diana, something like that.
Right. Given to us by the French.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a whole lot of Illuminati and Masonic symbolism going on. So, hey, Burt, so what did you come up with? What kind of irons do you have in the fire?
Well, what I'm trying to do here is basically set up a way for people, like, for example, like what Smokey's talking about. If you have a particular issue with a corporation, or if you believe there's a crime or something going on, then I'm trying to set up a path so that people can actually go about bringing justice or bringing those people that are causing the harm to justice. And I'm trying to set it up so that you do it as a people as opposed to as a citizen, and you do it under common law, the people's law, as opposed to legal law. And that's the part that I think is the most difficult for people to understand, is that everybody believes that the legal law is the law, and it's not. That's in fact just simply corporate law. And if you want to operate under corporate law, well, then you can follow corporate law. But there is another law that is a little bit difficult to read because it's unwritten, and that's the unwritten common law. And I've been studying the court rules here in Colorado, which are actually put together by the Supreme Court of Colorado, and I'm sure they're pretty much the same in any state that you go to, because it's all under the same corporation, the United States Corporation. But in that court rule, they actually speak about the common law, unwritten common law. And when you bring a case against someone or against something, you have the right to bring in the law that you want the justice to be brought under. And if you don't bring the law, then by default, it goes automatically to legal law. And that's why whenever you hire an attorney, it automatically goes to default mode, which is legal law. And well, I'll let you, Sharlene, ask me about particularly, because I have so many things that could go on for hours. So ask me about specific things that you want me to talk about.
Hi, this is Ridge.
Hi.
Hey, Ridge.
There is something that a friend of mine told me about, which is called a non-U.S. person trust. And if you set that up with somebody, instead of getting a notary, you use a thumbprint, then what happens is you're able to bypass the entire U.S. System and create your own excluded form of trust, so the U.S. government can't touch you, from what I understand.
Oh, I like the fact that it does use the biometric. That way you have laid claim to your biometric.
And because you're not using a notary, which is a part of the government,
right,
it keeps you one step away from being incorporated into that.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Well, he told me that.
What I understand from that, I'm not particularly familiar with what you're saying right now, but if you don't want to use a public notary, you can also get 3 people to act as witnesses, and it has the same power as the public notary. So that's another way that you can bypass not using.
Yeah, but then you have to have 3 people. It seems to me what he's talking about is he's actually saying that this is a way to tie your own body to your sovereignty.
Yeah, well, and that's what your signature. See, like one thing that I do when I sign papers, I have two signatures. Like if I'm signing a credit card statement or anything like that, where the credit card statement is in my all capitalized, letters, I sign it exactly that way. When I'm signing a piece of paper where I'm signing as the man, the real flesh and blood man, then I use my regular, my little fancy scribble, signature. But anything else, I sign with the all capital letters. So to let everybody know that, that's who is being represented in that signature, because all the papers that I'm filing now, I'm filing as me being the administrator of the all capitalized name. So there's all kinds of different approaches that people use, but I'm trying to use whatever system that seems to be backed by law, because basically you have to use kind of a little bit of their language to make sure there's no misunderstanding when you're communicating with them. And declaring yourself an administrator of some entity is something that they do understand, because in corporations, an administrator or a CEO of something, it's letting you know that there is a separation in between there. So that's one way to look at it.
So, Ridge, where did you learn about that, or how can we find out more information about that process?
I would recommend doing a search for non-U.S. person trust.
Uh-huh.
And see what comes up from that.
Okay.
That's interesting.
And I believe I scribbled something on the note below it, and I'm not sure what this one means, but it says prothonotary. So prothonetry. That may have something to do with it, but the person whom I received this information from is very much about stepping away from any kind of hands that the government has on him. And he's like, okay, I want to create my own corporation, or my own trust, and I don't want any legal involvement from the government. Right. So I did that with my thumbprint, and I'm able to bypass a lot of these laws.
You are now.
Go ahead, Karen.
Well, I was saying, what have you done with your thumbprint? You're able to bypass laws?
Only if you're setting up the U.S. non-person trust. If you're using the thumbprint, then that is part of the last part of the government having interaction with you when you're setting up this trust. Now, of course, we were talking about once we get legal representation, that suddenly becomes a different issue again.
Right. And you don't have to. I mean, the whole idea, it's a process, really. It's a journey to freedom, right, Burt?
Yeah, and what I'm finding out about this, this journey to freedom is because, I have people send me emails all the time that they want to know how to become free, and they want to just flip a switch and boom, they're free, And right. There's no such thing. There's no paper that you can file that's going to make you free. There's no magic set of words that you're going to say that are going to make you free. When I'm finding out that the only way to make yourself free is basically by fighting for your freedom, okay? And the only place to fight for your freedom is in court, is where I'm finding out. Because what I think will actually make you free is at some point in your life, after you have been basically beating them in court every time they try to come after you, they will eventually decide to leave you alone because it's not profitable to come after you, okay, especially if they have to pay you, and especially if you want some money from them. And that's why the fee schedule is a good foundation to set up, because then when you go to court, you have a point of reference to give the jury. But there's some basic things that you do have to understand about how the court works, and one of those things is the fact that there are, in fact, two courts. When you go to court, there's the legal court and there's the common law court. And if you go under the legal court, well, you're pretty much done. Okay, it's just a matter of that you're going to be cooked rare or well done, you know. But under common law, you actually don't have to go into the fire at all.
Right. Yeah, you don't want to get diminished punishment, really, under the legal law. And I think it's primarily because a U.S. citizen is a pawn on the chessboard. So as soon as you get on that board, you know, they all immediately have bishop and kings and queens and rook movability. They have a superior role in their own game. But in common law, you know, as a people, you actually are man to man, so to speak. Everybody's on a level playing field.
Yeah.
Well, I love where.
Go ahead.
I love where you can get them to, where you can request, or it's your right to have a common law court instead of their legal system, and it's an unwritten common law that you can bring into court. That's a good one.
Yeah, and then you know, the thing people need to understand is that as soon as you hire an attorney, okay, you just put yourself under their jurisdiction, because the attorney has no existence outside of the legal system. Okay, he's a legal attorney, so he can only help you, well, theoretically help you, if you're fighting in that legal system. But if you are not in the legal system, then the attorney cannot help you. And I kind of learned that, you know, a little bit the hard way, and wasted a lot of time. But when you refuse to take an attorney, then the court gives you two other choices. Okay, you can either get a public defender, or you can go pro se. And the public defender, of course, that's the same thing. He's keeping you within the jurisdiction. And when you go pro se, that to me is the biggest insult, because now you are acting as an unpaid officer of the court, and you are keeping yourself within their jurisdiction. So just like
you're enslaving yourself. They give you the opportunity.
We're going to have to break. We're going to have to break for just a minute here, so keep that thought. That's important. And Detlev, can you take us to break maybe with a Voodoo Stingray song? Folks, stay tuned for more of Musicians for Freedom this Sunday, November 6th, 2011.
Yes, I'm pleased to do so. Smokey, and it will be a magnificent Lady with a Gun. Wow. Well, stay tuned. We'll be right back. It's going to be very interesting in a second now.
Join Musicians for Freedom on ICRNetwork.com every Sunday at 3 p.m. MDT and 10 p.m. UK time for guests and political music live from the Colorado studio.
Trail went cold, looking for a gun and a beautiful girl. Let's man 'em up, the wild bunch, an Indian tracker with a broken sword. We have no time, we have to move fast. If we're gonna find her, yeah, we'll let you know. bought the Daniel 685. She pulled a gun, she grabbed some dough, a bottle of scotch and a pack of smokes. The old cashier was lucky that night. He missed 3 slugs that hit the coffee machine. Halfway house. She found this room, she ran away. She got a sweet cabin at the trailer ranch. The big cowboy is looking out. Over in the corner by the horseshoe pit, the Denver PD, the wild bunch, the Indian tracker with a broken sword. She fired 6 rounds, she gave it hell. Indian tracker's gonna take her out.
All right, we're back with this edition of Musicians for Freedom on November 6th, 2011, and we're talking with Burt and his adventures in the legal system, or misadventures. So, Burt, let's get back to that so that you can let folks know. I think one of the first big things they really do need to know is to not consent to any of it. So take us from the point of being arrested and how what you're learning about how to handle that and to turn it around so that you're not being at the mercy of the system set up against us.
Yeah, because basically when you get arrested, okay, the whole purpose of you being arrested is, of course, this is all commercial, so they want to make money off of you. So at some point they're going to bring you either in front of a magistrate, or it could even be the policemen themselves. Sometimes they let you out of the jail without even seeing a magistrate. And they want to get either a bond from you or some kind of a pledge for you to return to court. Now, of course, once you're in jail, your main goal is to get out, okay? So you want to get out, but you want to avoid entering into contracts. And one thing that people don't know is that whenever you go in front of the magistrate, the first thing he wants to try to do is get a plea from you. And the plea, it doesn't matter what you plea. You're basically agreeing with them that their charges are legitimate. So you never want to enter a plea. So the way you get out of that is you tell the judge that you are requesting a continuance on this hearing for a plea, because you need to seek counsel in order to be able to enter into a plea intelligently. And the magistrate has to give you a continuance. So that right there will get you out of the plea. Then the next thing to get out of is the bond. And you tell them that you want to be released from their prison on your honor, which is basically the same thing as being released on your recognizance. But recognizance, if you look at the definitions of it, it's kind of like an agreement. Now, on your honor, it's also an agreement, but in your own mind, you're defining what your honor is and what it is that you're agreeing to. And you're agreeing that, yeah, you will return to their court, but you're just not going to return in your own physical body, because that's where they get you. So you are going to return to court, but you're not going to return in your body.
Well, you don't want to make an appearance. The whole idea, I wanted to interject quickly about the World of Warcraft. You know, the video game analogy is really perfect because, or a drama, like a play, a Shakespearean play. It's kind of like, let's say everybody's waiting in the wings, okay, and the play is ongoing. Well, a time comes when your character makes an appearance. And they've written the script so that Burt needs to come on stage and make an appearance, okay? Everybody's watching, and he needs to come on cue, right? And so they want him to appear. So that's why they call it appear. And an attorney has to put in a motion to appear. So you don't want to appear. You don't want to actually get on their stage, because as soon as you do, they will embarrass you. Okay, they've already written the script such that your pants are going to get pulled down. And everybody's going to laugh at you.
Yeah, and right now what I'm actually helping a few people in different states to deal with some of their situations, and I'm helping them to set up these little teams. Ideally, it's a team of 5. You want to have a team of 5 actually go to court for you, and 2 of those people are just simply going to remain in the gallery with like hidden recording equipment so they can record the audio. And then the other 3 that go up there are going to have 3 very important roles. The one person is going to be speaking on your behalf, and they're going to have your authority to do that in a limited capacity. And then the other 2, one is going to be taking notes, and the other one is going to be there to make sure you stay on track, and that you object when you need to object, and that you stick to your script and don't leave anything out that needs to be entered into the record. But most importantly, those other 2 people that are going up there with the spokesman are acting as witnesses, and you enter them into the record as witnesses, and that magistrate or judge is going to know what you're doing as soon as you say that they're witnesses, because with 2 witnesses, you can impeach that judge. Okay, so that's a very important thing to go up there with, and let him know that you have 2 witnesses, because that's basically kind of like a shot across the bow of his court, you know, telling him that you now have 2 witnesses that you can impeach him with. But that's basically what I'm doing, and what I found out, that when you don't show up to court and have someone go up there and speak on your behalf, and that means that it's not an attorney, it's not a public defender, and it's not you acting as pro se, then they cannot establish jurisdiction over you. So they're basically SOL. You know, they cannot bond you in any kind of a way, you know. And then if they start entering orders for your arrest and all that kind of stuff, and I found out that, you know, a warrant is just another notice. It's just any notice. It's like getting a notice that your water bill is late or whatever. Everything from the court is commercial, so it's all notices, and you have the right to void out any of their notices, which is one thing that I did. I voided out a warrant from the judge. And in open court, he took back his own warrant. He said he vacated it, you know, after he got my order to vacate it, you know. So we're right now, I'm really trying hard to get this point across to people, because if we can set up small teams in every single state, we could actually help people to end all this abuse from the police, you know, trying to get tickets out of people, because from my understanding, all the municipalities have increased their tickets by like $50 to $60. So even a 10-mile-per-hour ticket now, it's like $150, you know. So they're desperate to make money, because they already killed a lot of the commerce out there. So now they're coming after your pocket to get whatever they can from you.
So
I know that Nashville. Go ahead, Karen.
Well, I'm fascinated by the concept of being released on your honor. as opposed to putting any kind of money out or a signature or anything. I think that's one that's, we'll have to see how that actually plays out in court. Okay, to you, Smokey.
I've noticed in Nashville over the last couple of months, well, actually since I've been here, that on my way to and from work, there's usually at least 5 sets of flashing blue lights, if not more, with people being pulled over for whatever reason.
Yeah, and it's all getting worse. Now, getting back to this thing in jail. Now, when you're arrested, your main goal is to get out. Okay, so whatever you do to get out, it's really, as long as you accomplish that, that's the important thing. Okay, but this is the other thing that people don't know. Everything you do while you're in jail, okay, whatever document you sign, whatever they get out of you, it's all done under duress. Okay. You cannot enter into any kind of a legal, I'm talking legal now, in their own legal world. You cannot enter into a legal world, into a legal contract if you have been coerced into it. And if they are basically putting the carrot of freedom in front of you in order for you to sign a particular document, it's void. It's not a legal document. So as soon as you leave that jail, your first step is to void out everything that you have signed with those people. And that's it. It cannot be used against you in any shape or form. And this is another thing that I'm telling people. You should have in your wallet a credit card with at least $1,000 in it, and that's going to be your get-out-of-jail bond if everything else fails. Because at least I know in Denver, they accept credit cards for you to place your own bond. And what happens if you get out and you call the company and say that transaction was fraudulent? They're going to put a stop on it right away. So that's
Nice
actually
idea.
the best way to enter a bond, is do it on your credit card.
Right.
That's good, yeah.
These are all simple things that you can do on your own and then be able to create a remedy for yourself. So you put it on the credit card, you get out of there, you void it out immediately as soon as you leave, because it is, in fact, fraud. Everything they do in jail to get a signature out of you is fraud, and that's what we need to understand. It's all fraud, but it's not fraud until you complain. When you finally put a complaint in, now it's fraud. But if you don't complain, well, it's just business as usual.
Mm-hmm.
And there's plenty to complain about. So it's interesting as... Now, okay, you have had one charge vacated, which was the ridiculous charge of trespassing at an international airport that still just cracks me up to think about how that could even be brought up as a crime.
Yeah, and the thing that's funny about it is that people need to understand this was a thing against TSA, okay? And the charges that they brought up on us were ridiculous. You can get these charges just walking down the street, on the sidewalk. There's an interference with police. Geez, people get that whenever they're arrested for whatever. These are all ridiculous charges. Now I haven't gotten them exactly discharged yet. But the last papers that I entered into the court was actually, the second to the last set of papers that I entered was actually to void out that warrant, which the judge did void out, and then I also gave them an order to stop including me as a defendant in any of their procedures. Okay, and I haven't received anything from them since then. So I kind of have the feeling that their case is dead in the water against me. So now I'm going on the offense, and the last paper that I turned in is ordering the magistrate to enforce my counterclaim because it has been acquiesced to, and we could discuss about that next time, the importance of what acquiescing is on legal paper. That's very powerful, and whenever you enter a piece of paper, you want to put in there a clause giving them a limited amount of time to respond to you, otherwise they acquiesce to all the points that you have in your papers. And that's what actually makes your paper powerful. If you don't put a time limit on it, then your paper is pretty much useless.
And then you just keep copies of these for your files.
Yeah, you always keep copies of everything that you have, and you keep the originals, and you give copies to them. and then you put in that paper that depending on the way the case is going. Like here in Colorado, once they start a case, you only have to give a 5-day notice. Okay, then 3 days additional if you're mailing it. But when you're beginning negotiations, which is communications with the court or whatever, you give 21 days. And at the end of 21 days, if they don't respond, then that means that they're agreeing with your points. Whatever it is your points in your claim, they have to respond, because the same thing happens to you. If they put a charge on you and you don't respond, then that means that you're agreeing to their charges. That's why they're able to issue a warrant for you. But everything they do also has 20 days minimum or 5 days minimum if you're already involved in a court case. So this is all
now,
stuff
Burt,
that attorneys don't tell you. Go ahead.
No, and a lot to learn. You're going to be joining us next Saturday on our marathon, and Sharlene will be joining us as well in a Know Your Rights with our buddy Charles Irwin from AmericanFreedomBooks.com. And we'll talk about this. We're going to get into this in more depth. So it's something for all the folks, especially who are involved in these Occupy movements, need to be aware of certain steps that go down when you are arrested or assaulted by the police. So why don't you give everybody your YouTube channel, and they can catch up that way.
Yes, and actually I'm just putting together a little short video explaining this part about showing up to court with a team of 5, and I hope that it's clear enough. But I also described in there another video that I have there about how to stand up while you're in front of the magistrate, when they drag you there from jail. So hopefully that will help people. But it's Do Not Consent 83, Do Not Consent 83. That's a YouTube channel, and then my email is donotconsent83@yahoo for anyone that has any more questions.
Burt, thank you so much, and we'll get into this again in a lot more depth this coming Saturday on our marathon, and we're going to have a 2-hour special, so it'll be targeted at the legal system. We're going to talk about the Occupy movement, and we're also going to really get into depth on why we need to impeach these treasonous people who are continually misrepresenting us. So, yeah. Burt, thank you again.
There's a mechanism for doing all that.
That's good. You are doing a great job. Now, I believe we've got another guest coming up. Sharlene, do you want to tell us who's coming up and intro this next song?
Absolutely, and I want to say goodbye to Burt. Bye, Burt.
Goodbye. Maybe I'll see you with some dandelions in a while.
Well, I'm going to see you. Yeah, I want to see you, and I like chocolate, okay?
Oh, really? Okay, I'll see what I can scrape up.
Something with a pretty...
Bye. You can't be breaking these hips. This is not good. Or whatever.
All right,
okay,
I'll see
bye.
you.
One thing I'd like to see you, Burt.
Okay, take it
Bye,
easy.
Burt.
Okay, so Burt's gone, and Smokey, you're still there.
I'm still here. One thing I'd like to point out, I think that everybody's missed so far, is that Ron Paul won the Illinois straw poll with 52%, which is an overwhelming majority.
Ah.
Yeah, Ron Paul rocks. I really hope Ron Paul gets the Republican nomination. I hope that happens.
Everybody should register Republican and vote for Ron Paul in the primary.
There you go. Ron Paul for president and CEO of the Federal Corporation. He's the only one that's going to get in there and get rid of all the departments. He won't have a job. Ron Paul is going to get rid of his job.
And he's also going to get rid of the IRS.
Yeah.
That should be first on the list.
All the alphabet agencies, right?
That's right.
So, Ridge, are you still here?
Yes, I am.
Oh, Ridge, you're still there. Okay.
Yeah.
All righty. So, coming up here, we're going to listen to a song first from King David, and then we're going to go ahead and get him on the show with us today. And also, we've got Tommy Truther. Detlev, did you say Tommy's going to join us on the show?
No, I just have the music ready for play anytime.
Great.
So, is understanding?
All right. Well, let me go ahead and introduce the song, and then we'll be talking with King David when we get back. And his song is called Your Kingdom Reign by King David.
This is Musicians for Freedom on UWS Community Radio and the International Community Radio Network.
Oh Lord, I just want to come to you, saying that you reign and rule over the world. Be thy glorified, O Father God, and let your kingdom reign. Oh Lord of heaven, we crown you the King, King of all the earth. Oh Lord, your kingdom reign. Oh Lord of heaven, we crown you the King, King of all the earth. Oh Lord, your kingdom reign. Hallelujah, thank you, Jesus. Lord, you're so good. Better than any that I ever taste. Money says the women can't take your place. Hug your sweet grace. Sweeter than a honeycomb favorite cake. Sour heart you take away. You sweeten me up my bitter cup. You brighten my day when you come my way. You make me stutter. You melt my heart like Cheryl's butter. When you hold me under this butter. Great and mighty is your name. Name above every name. No king on the earth, don't matter that stack. Biting on the tummy, gonna knock on that back. We're gonna find that king like this. Let me know if you ever do. I don't think you ever will. Look us in your searching bill. I don't think you will find a bill. No one like him on this plane who love like he does. Who died, laid down in life for us. Tell me why you still searching for when the love is evident. Look around, you see planet of his earthly elements. You never ever find a God. Heal a dead man, raise him out the grave. Heal a blind man, that been blind since birth. Heal us out with spit and dirt. Oh Lord of heaven, we crown you the King, King of all the earth. Oh Lord, your kingdom reign. Oh Lord of heaven, we crown you the King, King of all the earth. Oh Lord, your kingdom reign. This crown of the head was you the King. We're forever the authority. Oh hell to the King, the ruler of earth and everything. We assault above the heaven and earth. As we sing, praise the lifting you up high above all the wicked stuff. Earthly kings and men that but the Lord you praise his name, not Jesus. Then you're praising the idol God. Idol worship is a sin against the sovereign most high Lord. Jesus is the only king. Now Buddha Muhammad Elohim, the one that created everything. Sea, land, and purity. All eyes one day, so you see the real king. Burst to the sky like thunder ring on a white horse with his on his side. Ready to take the devil out. He gonna show the kings who boss us all bosses. Now Slim Thug, Lil Wayne, them boys riding the big rim. Gonna make them bow in the Gucci jeans. Make them say Jesus King, King of all kings. Lord of Lord, yes you run a thing. His kingdom is forever, 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 forever. He will rule the nations on the day after. Oh Lord of heaven, we crown you the King, King of all the earth. Oh Lord, your kingdom reign. Oh Lord of heaven, we crown you the King, King of all the earth. Oh Lord, your kingdom reign.
I ever even hearing about this.
Well, it's all Karen's fault. We have determined.
That's right.
So we are live. We are live, guys. I muted, so I couldn't count down. But anyway, yeah. Well, that's the way it goes. So please go ahead.
Well, welcome back, everybody. This is Sharlene with Musicians for Freedom, and we're joined today by our hostess with the mostest, Karen in Oregon. And she is to blame. We've concluded she is to blame for the United We Strike project. And Detlev is our host with the most, and he's only partially to blame.
Yeah, but I'm the guy in the back and who is bossing everybody around sort of. So Sharlene, if you watch it, please, from your side there are noises to be discovered.
Well, I think what I'll have to do then is Something you are doing is making noise, it says. Interesting. Okay, well, let me put my computer down. Hopefully that will help. I'm in the hospital, so the nurses are coming in and bringing me, food, and some guy came in and wanted to take me out of here to do physical therapy, and somebody else just brought me some drugs, and that's always good. And so today we've got on the line with us from Alabama, King David. Are you there, David?
Yes, ma'am. I'm here. Live and awake.
Nice, great. Well, so tell us a little bit about how you woke up and all about your music and, what you're trying to say to the world. What are you saying?
Well, it all started when I was young. I always had an inner conviction. I always had some type of inner conviction, even though I was doing my own little thing, even though I was considered a menace to society, or a school problem child, or community, wreaking havoc in my community. But it was something.
I did that too.
It was something inside of me. Always was convicting me. Never knew what it was before I even came to this spiritual side. I never understood what it was, but I always had a desire to do right, to do good things, to do, whether it's spiritual or whatever. I always had a desire to do right. But growing up in the community and the environment that I was in, the influences overwhelmed that good, or kind of put that in a container, because I had to fit in with the peer pressure. The peer pressure, then gangs and different violence in my neighborhood and different things I had to endure. I had to put on this front, whatever, to be a thug, whatever I had to do to survive. That's what it's all about. Sometimes people don't understand it. So a lot of people be on the outside looking in, but they don't understand what be really going on in the community. I was trapped inside that. A lot of violence, a lot of things I was doing, but I had to portray that so I can protect myself, because I didn't want to get beat up. I didn't go to school and get janked and beat up, and I had to wear my pants down. I had to wear them sagging. I had to sag my pants to show the other guys that, hey, I'm down too. I'm not weak. I'm living in this community. I don't want to get beat up, so I want to show everybody I'm hard just like you are. You know what I mean? You ain't finna step on my toes. If you step on my toes, I'm liable to do some stuff to you. But like you said, what woke me up was just a desire to do right. It wasn't nothing that pressured me to wake up into the spiritual thing that I'm calling myself in now. It was just a desire, a calling. I knew I had a calling on my life. Mama used to drag me to church, so my whole half of my family was churchgoers. So I think because of the teachings at church and my neighborhood church I was attending with my mama, that kind of was a seed sown into my life. And as I got older, I started kind of running after that, running after the desire. It was just a desire to want to do right, And that's basically what woke me up. I already had a desire to wake up, but because I was trapped inside the environment I was in, so I didn't really, it took me a while to wake up. So, but like in 1999, that's when I started really hanging around a lot of gospel rappers. I started get to know a lot of gospel rappers, and they kind of changed my life. It kind of brung that desire to pass where I already had before I met them. I started taking the journey of gospel hip-hop. So 1999 started a new life and a new beginning for me. That's when I woke up. That's when I realized, hey, this got to change. That's when I started hanging around the influences of the music, and I started getting involved with the music. And that's what's been going on. That's what woke me up, just a desire.
Well, that's
now
Go ahead, Karen.
I was just saying, okay, now in terms of waking up, you're talking about what woke you up to the Christian religion, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now what woke you up to the political system?
The political system? Talking about far as, what you mean?
The money.
Well, yeah, and what do you think about the way the government is? What are your thoughts on that, the way that we're being run?
I don't too much get into a lot of politics as much. I just feel like this, it's all, I look at it from a biblical point of view. You know, most of it I look at it from a biblical point of view. You know, I don't really too much get into politics. I just go by the strip of the Bible. You know, I just believe everything that's going on now with the politics and the things that are going on in this world is already written in the Bible. That's my point of view. Everything that's written, what was written in the Bible, is starting to come to pass. I really don't get involved in a lot of politics and stuff like that. And of course, I'm still learning a lot of things that I'm learning about it. It's kind of controversial, and I don't really want to get into all that. But that's just my point of view. I just live by the Bible, you know. And everything I see in this world now is was already written in the Bible. Things that's happening in the government and the different things are going on. That's the shady stuff and the evilness that's going on. This all came from the Bible, so it's already
there's
written.
Nothing new under the sun, right? I mean, that's what I like about the Bible, is it's really a collection of stories, you know, and it talks about how, you know, people are the same. They were the same then, and they're the same now, right? Corruption. There's people who are righteous and people who desire to do what's right. And then there seems to be this other element of corruption, and they're continuously undermining those of us who want to do what's right.
Yes, yeah. That's exactly what I look at it. You know, I don't too much get involved with that. I don't too much get into politics and that much. I just live by the Bible and what the Bible says to do and what not to do. People know what not to do and what they should do. So, you know, that's where I'm at right now.
Well, I think it's kind of cool
because
because
my music, I just do my music. The music that God gave me, I just kind of focus on that, and whatever happens is going to happen, you know.
Well, yours is kind of a leading light. It's kind of like some folks, you know, they wake up because of the external political. You know what I'm saying? You know, you know, there's definitely like the way Karen phrased it, you know, they're two different things in a way. You know what I mean? Like, because when we're little, I remember when I was little, you know, there was always that call, you know, I could hear that call from, you know, from God, and that, you know, stimulated that desire, you know, the desire to know God and the universe and to, you know, the miraculous, you know, to really comprehend the complexity of this beautiful universe, you know, and that's kind of a different thing. That's like this still voice, you know, that's inside of us that I guess we call spirituality, you know. And the Bible really speaks to that. The Bible is, you know, just a drama, and it speaks to that quest, you know, that all humans have, you know, for God, you know, that spiritual desire to know God. But then, you know, it seems to me what happened as I woke up politically, that's when I started feeling like I needed to get more involved somewhat in, you know, the political situation, you know, to start talking about it, you know, to really wake other people up, you know, to take our insight, you know, the gifts that we have been given, you know, to know the end times and help to wake other folks up to that.
Yeah, you're right about that. That's what the basic I'm there. I'm just studying, just certain things I just hush about until I really know. I don't want to just kind of touch on things that I really don't understand. You know, right now I'm just kind of getting my understanding, and you know, so that, you know, the Bible said the blind can't lead the blind. So I want to know a lot of information so I can be able to lead people out of that darkness, wake them up. If I'm not awake, I cannot awake them to certain information, certain things. I'm still learning. You know, like I said, before I even got to know who Christ was in my situation, to get to know when I walked up to the spiritual side, I wasn't studying politics. I was, like I was telling the minister society, I didn't care about no politics. I didn't care. I was an outlaw. So it didn't matter to me who the president was, white, black, or blue. You know, I'm going to do my thing regardless, you know. And I'm just being honest with you. You know, I'm starting to now get information and get a lot of things, you know, knowledge about a lot of things. And sometimes I just don't touch on things if I don't really understand and know about it. So I try to keep my mouth shut about it because I don't want to be looking like a fool trying to tell people I didn't already know myself. So I'm still learning.
Well, and Jesus even said, you know, he said, you know, what about taking the beam out of our own eye before we can see the speck in our brother's eye, you know?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So, hey, so what other song did you want us to play? We're going to play another one of your songs, David.
Let's see.
Detlev has My Everything ready.
My
How
Everything?
about that one?
Oh, yes. That's a song that's going to be on my upcoming album called Sacred. I'm still working on it. That's a great song that I've written to God. You know, a lot of people, man, they look for this. They look for their wife to this, I just telling God, you my everything, Only completeness that you can have is through that higher power, that inner spiritual thing that you call God,
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that I found in Jesus that I found that friends can let you down, your wife can let you down, your parents can let you down, but God never let you down. So that's why I wrote about this song, God is my everything. And that's
all right. Nice. I can't wait to hear it. Detlev?
You my everything, you all that I need. I'm so satisfied with you and me. My joy, my peace, my closest friend. Always stick with me to the very end. You my everything, you my every single thing. You my everything, you my every single thing. You my everything.
Yeah, let me tell you what you mean to me, Lord.
You my everything, yeah. I want you to tell what you mean to me. Need more than the colors on them shiny things. Shiny things can bring sunny days and rain. Sunny days I'd rather have than a platinum chain. When it raining in my life, you pull like the umbrella. Ella, walk me through my life like you did Apostle Paul. Even when it coming down like a waterfall in my life. When the rain is pouring, like it can never stop, like an aching sore. Even though it pouring hard, you don't duck and run. Weather the storm until I see the sun. So faithful, that's what you proving to me. Like Cisco, your promise you keep. Jewelry and rubies ain't nothing but a thing. You a Lord, one more shiny thing. You my everything, you all that I need. I'm so satisfied with you and me. My joy, my peace, my closest friend. Always stick with me to the very end. You my everything, you my every single thing. You my everything, you my every single thing. You my everything, you my every single thing. You my everything, yeah. Every day is like Valentine. When I'm with you, you blow my mind like every time. You beat on my chest like a man. Funny things that you say, Lord, make me laugh. Early in the morning, wake up in a bed of roses. That's what it smell like when I'm covered in your presence. Satisfy me better than my wife Serena. Her love is sweet, but your love is sweeter. More sweeter than honeycomb came from a cone. Lord, I love it when you play my favorite love song. You my love song that I love to sing in the morning at work, and then I'm singing in the evening. When it hurt, our love is so Titanic. Lord, make it can't compare to this romance. Real talk, my joy, my lover, and my best friend. My every single thing, on you I depend.
This is Musicians for Freedom on UWS Community Radio and the International Community Radio Network.
Well, welcome back, everybody. This is Sharlene with United We Strike and Musicians for Freedom. And here today talking with King David, and he's in Alabama. So we've been hearing some music from David. So, David, the song we're going to hear next, I think it's Say Something. Is that right, Detlev?
Yes, Say Something. Yeah, Say Something. Yeah.
So tell us about that.
Yeah, that song was written out of desperation, my time of, you know what I mean? I think Drake, he's a secular hip-hop artist, Drake. And I heard that song when he done the beat. I love the beat, and I love his way of approaching what he was saying in his song. I mean, he was talking to a woman, I guess. But I said, man, it kind of inspired me to write, kind of twist it around, because this is his song. This is just a mixtape type of song. This is not for sale. This is just like a mixtape. I did it, and that's for everybody to hear what I had to say on his beat. you know, it's a free download, so it wasn't nothing to sell. It's nothing for my album or nothing like that. I just was writing and playing around with it, and I said, let me just write something to this. You know, I said, God, you know, right now I was going through a little desert time in my life. I was like, say something, Jesus. I felt like he wasn't speaking, and I felt like I was abandoned. And I just wanted to say this song and, you know, dedicate it to everybody that felt like that, you know, that sometimes I feel like Christ is far away sometimes. You wake up and you're like, what's going on? Situation, you're like, my prayers are not being answered. You know, where are you? You know, a lot of people feel like that sometimes. You know, you go through a, you know, trauma time in your life and you feel like, well, God is where you at. You may have lost your father, your mother, your daughter, whatever you're going through in your life, and you feel like God is really not there. So, and I dedicate this song to everybody that feel like that. Hey, say something. I want you to say something to me, you know. That's how I feel about it. That's what this song is about. Say something, Jesus. Say something to me.
Gotcha.
You know? Yeah.
Oh, God.
Okay, Detlev, can you play that for us?
Seem like you just far away from me. Lord, what I need to do, I just need you to do this one thing for me, Lord, please. You seem so far away, heard not a word today. Usually you speak softly words to me. What I need you, say some Jesus, say some Jesus, say some Jesus. Say some Jesus, say some Jesus, say some Jesus. Sitting feeling so abandoned, like trash in a ditch, so forgotten. Trying to talk to you and fear you ain't listening to my prayers at all. Why bother to pray then if you ain't listening to what I got to say? It seems this way cause it's still here alone today. Why when I told you about the problem yesterday? I cried out to you, Lord, to make a way. I sought your face, what's going on, I don't know. Why I feel so alone in this world so cold. Like Mrs. Rosa Parks, I can't take no more. Sitting on the back row, I want the front row. I was gone by her, not a single word from you, Lord. Did you push me to the curb? What up? Do you hear me or not? It seems like you done, you started acting like my pops. Distant, all I wanna do is see your voice. Feeling like Clara Clark, she'll speak, Lord. I know I might upset you with my poor choices. Just a slap in your face left you broken hearted. Started out good, spending time doing the most. Never missed or atonement, always on it. Somehow I slip way far from it. Bring me back to the place of the sacred moments. You still far away, heard not a word today. Usually you speak softly words to me. What I need you to say some Jesus, say some Jesus, say some Jesus. Say some Jesus, say some Jesus, say some Jesus.
Well, welcome back, everybody. I'm Sharlene, and I'm with Musicians for Freedom, and we're here today with King David. And David, I'd like to find out a little bit about your website and how folks can get a hold of you. Do you have a website?
Okay. Yes, ma'am. It's www.kingdavidglorymusic.com, and that's the way you can get a hold of me. And you know, to find out my music, whatever. I'm still kind of constructing some things. It's kind of out of order a little bit, but forgive me for that. There's a lot of work to it. And I'm trying to put a little bit more things on it, and different things, trying to get everything rolling on there. On that, and then you can go to my Facebook page to www.facebook.com. Tell That Truth Boy. Tell That Truth Boy. That's what you can reach me at too.
That's where I found Truth Seeker Derek Facebook. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
You have to have a Truth Music Directory. I don't know. You know, it's such a vast world out there. There's so much information. It's just vast.
Mm-hmm.
So where are you playing at? Where are you playing music at, David? Like, where do you gig at?
I gig mostly in Mobile. I got a concert. I'm a promoter as well. I promote other artists because that's what God gave me the vision to start stuff. You know, I'm a great host too. I host different things and different concerts. Like Friday, that's coming up November 11th. We got a concert called Hands Off. You know, Truth Seeker, of course, is going to be a part of it. I got different various artists around the Gulf Coast going to be a part of this event. And that's one of my gifts I like to do, is promote gospel hip-hop in this local area, because a lot of people don't really know about gospel hip-hop, gospel rap. So I'm promoting that in Mobile. You know, that's one of the things I love to do, is promote other artists as well as myself. But this night is for them. It's not for me. I'm just going to do a video shoot, and just really introduce Mobile to some of these local artists, open up doors and opportunities for them. So that's basically what I'm doing now. I have not been doing a lot of gigs as far as my own shows as of now, because I'm working on music, working on some things, and I've been doing like promoting right now. That's basically what I've been doing, just promoting other artists. And
did you want to give out an email or a phone number for folks in your area around Alabama or anywhere that want to come visit you, or maybe you could help them out? Do you want to give a phone number? Are you comfortable, or email?
Yes, I can give my phone number. Yeah, I can give my phone number and my email. My phone number is 251.
When I was younger, I didn't have time for it, and I just kind of assumed that the government was taking care of us, because that's what I was taught to believe. And once you really start to wake up in terms of the politics, you find out that that's the last thing that government was set up for. It was set up to govern our minds, our hearts, and to march us towards this new world order, which is happening. So I know that right now, if you haven't been really looking into politics, it's pretty interesting, and we are all captive. We're legal captives. We're under legal conquest, because somewhere there are laws that are written that actually have nothing to do with our lives. They have everything to do with power and control, and as long as the people who are in power remain in power, we will continue to have more and more of our rights usurped. So it's important to get right spiritually, but it's also important to start waking up and to ask questions about the wars, why we're involved in, like 9/11 and things like that.
I want to say this. It's amazing. It's amazing. Everything that's going on right now. You saying about awake. You know, the Holy Spirit spoke to me 2 weeks ago. David, I'm getting ready to awake something in you. I never understood that. Like, what you mean by awakening me? You know, I felt it in my heart. Awakening to, lately, I'm going to be honest with you, I've been studying about some things about Freemasonry, a lot of things. I didn't want to mention that on the radio. I want to, kind of staying away from it a little bit as of now. I didn't understand what he was saying, but he's exposing a lot of the culture of the hip-hop. That's what he's exposing to me. And
sure.
Not just the hip-hop, but the different symbols and different things. I don't want to get into all that right now. But
yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. It's corrupted.
Yeah. It's amazing that I'm on the show, because that's the word awaken. I keep hearing that over and over. That's what he's doing in my life. He's awakening me to the politic things that is going on in our government, the corruptness, the serving of other guys and different things that's going on. That's what he's awakening me up to. That's what I now I'm starting to really see the puzzle what he's trying to wake me up to. And I'm like, God, I'm already waking up. I'm reading your Bible. I'm doing this. But you want me to wake up to more of the political side of what's going on in our government and different things. Man, I've been studying on all kind of stuff lately. My wife thinks I'm going crazy.
They say narrow is the way, and few there be that find it, and that's an unfortunate thing. But, God gathers a people unto himself.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously then gathered out of something, right? Come out of her, my people, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am.
And so we're coming out of Mystery Babylon if we can. We've got to come out of, the whore. Which I think, is the monetary system, the whole Vatican system, just all the organized religions that have been corrupted from the real truth, which is that, what Jesus told us is we're supposed to love our brothers and sisters as we love our own selves, and, love God and love one another.
Yes,
and that's the truth.
And it can be much more simple, like it was simple when we had common law. And that meant that if there was a crime done, there was an actual victim. It wasn't just a piece of paper with a bit of legislation that we've been trained to pay homage to. There was actually a victim who needed to be compensated. And that's how we go about it. Do no harm, fulfill your agreements, and be accountable. And that's really all we need. Not massive millions of laws and huge bogus legislation to keep us so misguided. There are laws that we don't even realize we're breaking because we don't know what they are, nor do the misrepresentatives who have signed them into being. So I hope that you'll check out the UNITEDWESTRIKE.com and taxfree15.com and spread the word, because what we're seeking to do is to help unite all these people who now finally, globally, are rising to the occasion of wanting to defend their freedom. But we don't have to be targeted, David. We can prepare ourselves with food and water and shelter, and we can work within our communities to make the difference there. And we can have a huge strike and boycott in solidarity as things change, because we can't make a difference by marching down a street hundreds of miles from our home. We can make a difference in our own neighborhoods.
Wow.
In the hood.
That's it. In the hood. Yes. That's what I love to go. It's amazing, though. It's such amazing that this is what the Lord is showing me. My wife think I'm going crazy. I be showing her different things about McDonald's. Oh, let me share. Oh, my Lord. Oh, Lord, let me share all kind of stuff. I'm starting to research about different symbols and different things, meetings of different secret societies. Oh, my God. I've been on it. And
good. Well, welcome to the world. We've been here for a while.
Yeah, I'm just now awakening to it. My wife think I'm going crazy. Yeah, I'm starting to see stuff on. I don't look at TV like I used to look at TV. I look at movies. I look into the movies and I see different things, and it blows my mind. I want to never paid attention to it. Never paid attention to it.
It's a wild ride.
Yeah, like The Matrix, all those movies, they're all what's called predictive programming. A lot of the sci-fi movies, and yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully check out our websites. We have a one-day strike on the 15th, although it's moved beyond that now, and we need to be ready at any time at this new war they're trying to get with Iraq. We need to strike for our future and get them to stop destroying our planet and to start healing. So thank you, David, very much. Good luck with what you're doing.
Yes, ma'am.
Again, check us out at UNITEDWESTRIKE.com and give us your website, please.
Okay. You want me to give my website now?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
One more time.
Okay, www.KingDavid2000. Oh, my God. I'm the wrong website. I got so many in my head. It's www.KingDavidGloryMusic.com. So please check my website out. You also, I got my Facebook badge on it. You can click on that, too, as well, and find out what'll be going on with me.
Wonderful.
Thank you for having me on your show.
That's great, David. Thanks a lot for being on, and we will have Text Me a Praise from you, and afterwards then we have another one, which is Grace and Mercy. So, Sharlene, will you shout out your website again for Musicians for Freedom?
Yeah, it's www.musiciansforfreedom.com. And you can find all of my links to my YouTube videos, my Facebook, have a Twitter account. Everything is there on musiciansforfreedom.com. I'd like to thank Smokey for showing up today from the band Voodoo Stingray. He's from Nashville in these recent times since he moved from Colorado. Also, Ridge Keough was with us today, and thanks a lot to Ridge. And who else? Burt dropped by, and you can get a hold of Burt through me or at donotconsent83@yahoo.com. And Karen and Detlev, your websites?
Karen, go ahead.
Taxfree15.com and UNITEDWESTRIKE.com, where we just happen to have Tommy Truther's United We Strike song. Anytime folks want to listen to it on the homepage.
Absolutely. So now I'm Detlev, Switzerland, wakenews.net and Wake News Radio. And thanks for listening. We see you next Sunday. And don't forget our United We Strike Radio Marathon on Saturday the 12th. tune in. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
This is Musicians for Freedom on UWS Community Radio and the International Community Radio Network.
Man, where everybody at today? I'm at this crazy job. Boss man getting on my nerves. Man, I wish somebody. I can't take no phone call right now. You know what I'm saying? Dang. But you know what though? You can text me a praise. Somebody text me a praise, please.
Text me your praise song to text me your praise. Send it to my smartphone, I need it today. I'm gonna do some things, I need to see your praise. Do you have a praise song to get me to today? Text me your praise song, send it to my smartphone. Text me your praise song, send it to my smartphone. Text me your praise song, send it to my smartphone. I need a real text, real good praise song. Somebody please somebody, I need to be encouraged. Where my praise partners, I need you in the hurry. It's emergency, I need a tank speedily. Come and get me, please text me. I'm at work now, can't talk on the phone. I can't call the gospel, my boss is around. I'm about to clown on this clown. Man, I'm so down, my face with a frown. I'm about to hide on the word he can't find. I know it's wrong, but man, I am crying. Crying from this pain I'm feeling inside. I'm not really happy now, don't wanna lie. Like Tuscaloosa, my life is torn up. Spiritual tornado came and sucked me up. Everything around seemed like it's crumbling. Where did my joy go? Where did it went? Text me your praise song to text me your praise. Send it to my smartphone, I need it today. I'm going through some things, I need to see your praise. Do you have a praise song to get me to today? Text me your praise song, send it to my smartphone. Text me your praise song, send it to my smartphone. Text me your praise song, send it to my smartphone. I need a real text, real good praise song. I'm about to pull out my phone, take a chance of getting fired. Text somebody, hope they take me higher. I'ma send them text praise, I'ma get it started first. Start a praise party like we do in church. Better have some church, post it on Facebook. Post me a status with this crunk praise hook. Praise is what I do, like Bishop Paul Martin. When I get the praise, you can't hold me in our corner. If you got a praise song, text it to my phone. Let me join with you as we text praise song. Let's tell God how great He is to us. Putting food on the table, breathing life in us. We both got a song that will help us go through trials and testing, what we going through. I don't know about you, He is worthy of the praise, honor and glory for the rest of our days. Yeah. Text me your praise song to text me your praise. Send it to my smartphone, I need it today. I'm going through some things, I need to see your praise. Do you have a praise song to get me to today? Text me your praise song, send it to my smartphone. Text me your praise song, send it to my smartphone. Text me your praise song, send it to my smartphone. I need a real text, real good praise song. Text me your praise song to text me your praise. Send it to my smartphone, I need it today. I'm going through some things, I need to see your praise. Do you have a praise song to get me to today? Text me your praise song, send it to my smartphone. Text me your praise song, send it to my smartphone. Text me your praise song, send it to my smartphone. I need a real text, real good praise song.
This is Musicians for Freedom on UWS Community Radio and the International Community Radio Network.
Oh yeah, yeah. Grace and mercy kept me strong, even when I'm doing wrong. I don't deserve it. Grace and mercy, oh Lord, don't take it from me. Grace and mercy keep me strong, even when I'm doing wrong. I don't deserve it. Grace and mercy, oh Lord, don't take it from me. Grace and mercy kept me strong when I was all alone. Friends turned their back on me and let me sing in sad songs. It became my friend.
someone that's friendless. Took my hand, lead me and show me love and kindness. Love and its kindness give me so much comfort. Made me feel secure when I'm tested to suffer. Man, it made me tougher when they let me know how to get over this mountain in my way. I was so messed up, I tell you, so jacked up. I had no one to turn to walk me through. The only one to turn to, the Heavenly Father. The Heavenly Father, He felt my sorrow. I felt like Paul with a thorn in my flesh when He asked God why He haven't moved in yet. The Lord spoke to me, told me the same thing. My grace is sufficient for you, just maintain. Grace and mercy kept me strong, even when I'm doing wrong. I don't deserve it. Grace and mercy, oh Lord, don't take it from me. Grace and mercy kept me strong, even when I'm doing wrong. I don't deserve it. Grace and mercy, oh Lord, don't take it from me. Even when I'm single, trying to live a holy life, sometimes it got rough. I found myself in the fight, fighting with temptation. The lust it presents. At time I lost the fight, I found myself giving in, gave in to the girl I was sweet talking to me. She used to tell me, David, come make love to me. She used to say these things when I'm weak in my flesh. The devil knew I was weak. He used her to tell me. I finally gave in and got between the sheets. Ain't gonna lie, it felt real good at that moment, G. But after it was done and the pleasure was so, I felt real bad. I went and cried to Jehovah. I cried out saying, Lord have mercy on me. Lord, please grace me. Would you forgive me? It was so amazing. Told me He forgive me. It was nothing but Jehovah's sweet grace and mercy. Grace and mercy. Even when I'm doing wrong, I don't deserve it. Grace and mercy, oh Lord, don't take it from me. Grace and mercy keep me strong. Even when I'm doing wrong, I don't deserve it. Grace and mercy, oh Lord, don't take it from me. Take it from me. I won't be here to tell you about it. Grace and mercy, great mercy that you have for me. Mercy, grace and mercy that you have for me.